was unaware of a gaming thing in Tukwila.
Renton. Sorry,
Renton. I did.
Renton Con was going on. The
Oh,
gaming expo.
oh, the one that we were going to go to.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Woody's a really good friend, people.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize it was this month. We might have gone, but yeah, but whatever.
Well, then I should tell you, we're like 16 days away from SummerCon.
Yes.
Do you have a booth number yet?
Maybe. There's actually an email I need to answer that may have that information. So.
Hey, but he'll be there, and
Yes.
and just to let you guys know, this will be my whatever I'm going to call it soft launch. Woody and Alex are giving me a little bit of space. I'm going to bring out 5 to 10 wands. If you want to see them, come on down, see what I do. See Woody's woodwork too. It's actually pretty cool. The art on the wood being burnt in is actually. I would love, Woody, if you bring your stuff and do something there.
That's really tricky at a show because of just the need to also sell our stuff. And but we are going to be at Kent Cornucopia Days, and I'm planning to do a wood burning piece there.
Is that the fourth Thursday or whatever it is, second Thursday thing?
Oh, Kent Cornucopia is a different event in comparison to the Art Walk in Kent, which is a third Thursday.
Third Thursday. I named every Thursday but the one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
One of the big complications with doing any kind of woodwork at a con, though we obviously would have a big crowd every time, there is an investment in the electricity. It can be quite expensive actually for the con to bring the power over to your booth, and so that makes it a little tricky for us to commit to a project like that.
My garage is a wood shop. You would not understand how many extension cables are in there.
Yes, sometimes the cost is another $160 though for electricity.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, no, it would be cool, but it's not always cost effective. It just adds more to what you have to make in order to make the show pay off.
You do that, and I'll drag my lathe out there.
Oh yes, yes, that will go over really well with everybody at the show. Oh my. Yeah.
All right. So enough wasting time. Let's jump right in. We're doing Savage Avengers, I believe 1 and 2, even though I only had one.
Well, issue 2 hasn't come out yet. We're doing issue 0 and number 1.
What he said, because I
yes. Yeah.
So why don't you guys take it away and do issue 0?
Okay.
One of my favorite comics is obviously Daniel. Daniel is the one who actually suggested this one.
The other Daniel.
Yes, not this Daniel.
Yeah.
There's another Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Cozy did our whole graphics thing. If you guys would like to ever recommend them, our email's on the bottom here, which is mdreviewcast@gmail.com. You can jump on Discord. You can send us anything on Twitter. We'll find it. Just get it to us. Give us suggestions of things that you'd like us to review to see what we think about it. And
that would be fun.
We'll do our best to do it for you as well. But I just wanted to throw that in there. Let's jump over to you two about issue 0 because I don't have issue 0. So go nuts, you guys.
Well, I did want to jump and mention there is, like if you like, there's kind of a history behind this too, because way back in the 70s and 80s, Marvel had the license to do Conan comics. And then they lost it for reasons I actually have no idea why. And then it ended up bouncing around to various publishers, including Dark Horse, by the way, which I thought had a really killer run. And now they got it back, and they're doing it. I think we did review the first issue of the new Conan series, but for some reason now they've decided that Conan has to be on the Avengers, hence the name of the series being the Savage Avengers. And so, yeah, it's gritty. Takes no prisoners, and it has the obligatory superhero fight. But and issue 0 came out on Free Comic Book Day, one of the few offerings Marvel had actually for Free Comic Book Day this year. And the first half of the book was an Avengers story that seems like a complete acid trip, and then the second half was basically telling the story of Elektra and how she gets involved. They're basically taking all of the really edgy, violent characters and putting them on a team with Conan, which seems to me like a cash grab project, but it's fun and kind of well executed. What did you think, Alex?
Yeah, this fanfic was quite interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those interesting things of like thinking um, of having a character as Conan, which has been a piece of literature that has been around for what over 100 years now,
But it has
and
cultural impact.
yeah, cultural impact, and it's like the Marvel characters have been the majority of them were really started in the 60s. So it's kind of interesting to see, like, the take on, like, how these two characters interact with each other. Granted, we only have a very abridged part of what's going on with Conan and at least Wolverine at the start.
Yeah, apparently there was a, which I didn't know about, there was a crossover story just prior to this with the regular Avengers title where Conan uh, joins them, has some adventure, and then instead of going home, he ends up in the Savage Land. So he doesn't know that he's still in the contemporary day. And there's some sort of, they're basically, it seems like they're wrapping it in with some, like the same kind of villain that Conan would fight is now operating the modern era. And Wolverine and Elektra and all these guys have to go take him out because they've got the Hand working for them for some reason. I'm sure it'll all be explained by the time the series is done. But yeah, it definitely reads to me like just in a cash grab, like a series that would never have existed if they didn't get Conan. But unlike a lot of stuff, I mean, whether it's the art style or just like the grittiness of it, I don't know. There's something about for me that's a lot more interesting than what I'm usually reading from Marvel.
So the matrix of those three and that zero, what are you going to do with that one?
well, the issue zero is just like because issue one only basically mainly focused on Conan and Wolverine, but there are supposed to be other characters in the series, and this issue zero just sets them up. Though I do find it interesting that it looks like Elektra is going to be wearing the outfit from the Daredevil TV show, which is interesting. They like these things to look like. They expect the fans to come in from the new show or movie, so they always have to change the characters to look like those guys, which is why Thor now has a beard in the comics.
Okay, but that's the best part, and I'm not going to ruin it, is him getting his beard back.
Well, Thor's not in this series, so we're not ruining anything. But I mean, I don't know. I like the artwork. Nothing about the lettering really stood out as bad or good. It's just like what it actually reminds me of is the artwork of Strom. Like this is from I think it was a Tribe comic book, but like he did a bunch of X-Men comic books back in the 90s. Did a lot of X-Force. And apologies, I don't remember his first name, but like the artwork is intentionally gritty and rough around the edges, like on purpose, just almost as if the artwork's a reflection of the theme of bringing in Conan.
You mean like old style Conan show, or
no, like they particularly picked an art style which has an edge to it. It doesn't have the smooth lines and the refined like anatomy and caricature that you usually see in modern comics. Like say it wouldn't be as nice as that Flash Gordon piece behind you. But yet it all works. Yeah, exactly. Alex, you've been rather quiet. Do you have any other thoughts on the book?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, it's been a fine piece. It hasn't been anything that has really majorly stands out to me.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. It's like art wise, very similar. It was nicely illustrated. As like typography, I didn't see anything that was glaringly like agitating, irritating, or just like blew my socks off. And as story goes, it's like I said, it's an interesting fanfic.
So,
okay, well,
let's jump into one, and I'll speak a little bit because Alex, we got to get him to stop talking.
yeah.
When you gave me one and I opened it up, I saw the cover and I was like, wow, I love the cover. And I'll be honest with you, it kind of scared me because every time I like the cover, they do less work in the book. And this one, they didn't hold back. It was well done for issue 1. The cover is the the expectation you should have when you go to read this, and for the artwork. Lettering, I stopped paying attention because you always catch everything, and I don't want to waste it anymore. So I'll let you cover that part. But the storyline in this, where they focus on, I'll tell you what, you know me, I hate crossover crap. And Conan and Wolverine feels like a little crossover, but explain from what you talked about in the history, like they lost it. Of course, they weren't doing anything with it. And I actually enjoyed this. There were only 2 crossovers. Both of them were with Wolverine, and Wolverine's not my favorite X-Men. But both of them with Wolverine is this one. And then when DC Marvel did their thing, and it was...
well, the question is which time? Sorry to interrupt, but...
There's been like 3 or 4.
Right, but they did the one I was going to explain. If you let me continue, we would have got to the part... You know what? Forget it. I don't even want to be a part of this conversation. Lobo Wolverine crossover.
Yeah.
Remember that they had that big fight, and I'm not a fan of DC, and there's only some Marvel stuff I really like. I really like independent stuff, and the titles that I collect are usually from Image. That one, Lobo and Wolverine, was really cool. I just liked it. I liked the fight and everything, and I like what they put into it. This had that feel, and I enjoyed that. Where it was like, the Conan that I know from the comic book, or even the TV show with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you can say what you want. I think he really did kind of get that character. You know what I mean?
I loved it.
Yeah, I thought he nailed it. and it comes off in this comic book, which we've talked about this before. Sometimes people like rewrite or they change things. It felt like they were going old. They were continuing with Conan. They didn't change anything about Conan. His personality, his speech, nothing. It rolled right into this. And I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed that a lot more than if they would have changed it to meet their criteria or go with their idea or whatever. Which I thought was really interesting. I didn't like that book one was just that, because on the cover you see Venom in the back, and I was like, I want to see what happens with Venom. Is he going to continue going? Like, I don't follow the comic books. The last time I read anything with Venom in it, he still wanted to kill Peter Parker, but he was kind of like an anti-hero.
You kind of get that in issue 0.
Again, guess which one I don't have?
Yeah.
But for this, the storyline, I don't know if it doesn't feel like it's going to be anything into the actual Savage Avengers stuff. I like the storyline of Wolverine meets Conan, and they have a face-off, and it was really cool and a lot of fun for me. I actually did enjoy it. But so issue 1, Alex, do you have anything different about issue 1 than the fanfic issue? I mean, sorry, issue 0.
So that one had an interesting part of like, what was it? Three different stories, if I recall right. It had a one part that felt like a very noir kind of style, except that it had, well, much more color than, but it had like a, what do I want to call it? Like a Frank Miller kind of feel. The way that the rain was falling, the way that the characters were portrayed, except that it was, rendered, it was colored with full coloration. I think it would have just been like a much more enjoyable story if they actually went noir or Frank Miller and just maybe added just, that tiny splash of color. But it's like, it was a quick read. It was kind of an interesting little thing of like, get you into the mindset of like what issue 1 was going to be. But it didn't help of like reading issue 1 first and then going backwards, seeing issue 0 and going like, oh, okay, I know where this is going because I, read through number 1 first. But it was neat to see like, how they did the various character designs and things of that aspect. And if I also recall, there's a group of the Avengers that I believe we reviewed in one of the other previous episodes of this, where it's like, oh, that was kind of a neat little callback of like, I remember that because we did this review show,
Yeah.
opposed to like, actively like going, wow, this is a really interesting, bizarre part of the team.
Mm-hmm. I rather enjoyed the book, but there were a couple of things I thought were a little odd. Like, I happened to notice that there's a point where Conan kind of loses his broadsword, and instead of going and looking for it, he just grabs a katana and just moves on. And it was just like, where'd the sword go? Kind of like just weird that it just dropped and he just grabbed something else. And kind of makes me wonder if the broadsword's going to pop up later because the artist remembers he's supposed to have it. And then there was another thing which, like, he gets into this fight with Wolverine for no apparent reason, just other than the fact that's how you do crossovers. And then the fight ends for no apparent reason. It's like they had a few pages of a fight. You get to see some cool stuff. Wolverine gets to be badass, and like they don't kill each other. And that aspect is not really clearly explained. They just, oh, you're awesome. I think we understand each other. Yeah, I agree. And then they move on. And that I wish there had been a little bit more attention to that, but you had to keep the story moving. So.
Well, I don't get that feeling. That's Conan to me. Conan wants to know people by fighting them, and that's the first time Conan's did that to somebody, if I remember right.
Well, I don't know. It's just one of those odd things that, like, I know how comic book crossovers are supposed to go. So, like, I'm used to it, but I kind of wonder how a new reader. Oh yeah, okay. But I kind of wonder how a new reader's going to get it. But it is an interesting idea that you've got an enemy that Conan would fight now in a time period, like in a modern time. And you don't usually see enemies like this in comics so much, doing this kind of a thing where they're, murdering people with powerful spirit or something and using them to fuel a ritual. And it's like, this isn't usually an Avengers kind of enemy, but this also isn't actually an Avengers book. They just slapped an Avengers name on it to get people to buy it because Avengers are hot. And that's fine, but I'm really, what got me interested actually more was the fact that you've got a Conan plot with superheroes, and that's something that they don't do very often. And I am intrigued where the book's going to go on that basis. Is this a story that's going to have any kind of real stakes? They certainly are bringing a weird random collection of characters in. Like, what business does the Punisher have being in this series? I don't know, but I guess we're going to find out.
Alex, it's going to bother.
I actually kind of forgot that the Punisher was there.
Well, he had a cameo at the end. But
Alex, it's gonna bother me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you cut your hair? Oh, he ponytailed it. All right. It was been driving me crazy, and I didn't know. Like, woo! My. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was just looked weird.
It's okay. I did trim though.
I can't tell.
I did not cut my hair.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I did not cut my hair either, if you want to get super technical.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry. It was just, I'm sitting here staring at it on the screen, and I'm like, what is wrong with this picture? Something is not right.
Yeah.
Maybe this helps.
How it's, yeah, actually, yes. Now I'm like, oh, Alex has his hair still. And the series, I get what you're saying. It's not Avengers. Like, I get that aspect of it, but I wonder if it's going to be an Avenger, like,
I don't know,
defending Earth of mismatch, because that's kind of what Avengers have been. Now I understand, like in the past, it's been take out a couple characters, put a couple characters in. Mm-hmm. And the only steady character through if I remember right, the old comic book Avengers was Captain America.
Well, I mean, Wolverine's the only character on that team, as far as I remember. I don't know if Elektra's been an Avenger before. I don't think so. But I know Wolverine has been, and it was only for the purpose of bringing in readers from the X-Men, because Wolverine's popular. And so it's like, they're really, again, there are no Avengers there. Wolverine's not really an Avenger. He's a publicity stunt. And so it's like, they're calling it Savage Avengers, and it's like, there are actually, as far as I can tell, there are no Avengers there. Like, Venom's not an Avenger, Punisher's not an Avenger, Elektra's an assassin, Wolverine just, does cool shit and, sometimes hangs out with the X-Men. And so it's like, it's strictly the whole book is put together as a publicity stunt. And yet I think it kind of works.
Wolverine is too tall in the book, by the way.
Well, thank you, Jackman.
Alex, final thoughts.
So really nice art. It's something where it's like, pick it up, make your own decision.
Well, we know what yours is.
Really, what is it, Woody?
You've been expressing how much you're like. This reminds me of that episode where we had this book. I don't remember which one it was, but Doc, I'm trying to get a conversation going, and Doc's like, "I hate this. I won't talk about it." It's like, you're the host. You're supposed to talk about it.
Oh man. Listen, one thing you can always get from me is honesty. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very bad at sugarcoating. I'm not really good at tact. Yeah. I'll give it to you how I think it is. And oh my God. I remember that one because I think the whole time in the video I'm rolling my eyes at you.
Like, this is a show. We talk about comics.
I get it. And there's no bad comics. But anyways, Alex, what do you think? Was that like I pied out of 5 or what?
Yeah. How many swords out of 5 are you giving this?
I don't know. Shink.
You're only using the middle claw there, Alex.
Oh, hey, I made 3 shinks, so you you do the math then.
Exactly.
Oh,
between the claws.
Final thought.
Well, the book is schlock, but I really enjoyed it. It was well executed garbage, and it's like it has the exact same quality of product I expect from Marvel. High quality art, professionally delivered product, and kind of like lacking in creative integrity. But at the same time, it was one of those things where it was so fun to read that I kind of didn't care. And so I will probably pick up the second issue just to see if it goes anywhere. It enjoyed me. I enjoyed it enough to find out, to want to find out what happens next. So I'm hoping that they've got a plan, that it has a substance to it. I mean, we're going to get at least one graphic novel out of the book, and it looks like it could be a fun read. Conan has no business being there. There's no reason for these people to team up, but it's I don't know, it's like a weirdly fun premise.
So when you play Riffs or GURPS, this is what happens.
This is exactly what happens in RPGs. Yes, this would totally happen in an RPG. Yeah.
Which explains why I actually enjoy it.
Awesome.
I thought it was fun, but I also don't have all the history. I don't have all the things. I thought it was a very fun story. I get why they're calling it Savage. I'm not 100% sold into the Avengers thing yet, but they could surprise us. You don't know. Sure. I as always enjoyed the art. I also like that nobody in this one is a god, and like every DC superhero except for Batman, who can kick everybody's butt, because Batman's the best superhero ever, and in any fight he would have just knew it was coming and prepared for it, and that's how he wins everything. So I'm sorry, I'm not cosplaying as the ultimate Batman fan anymore.
I heard a quote somewhere recently that so far to date, no millionaires on Earth have ever invested in the technology, training, or education necessary to be a superhero. I thought that was an interesting point. Billionaire, right? Billionaire, because you can never afford it on a millionaire salary.
Right. And that they were definitely not understanding what they're supposed to do with wealth. I think I read the same one too. Yeah. But out of that, I found it fun. I found it interesting. And it's what comics are supposed to be. I mean, you get into lores, you get into the histories and blah, 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 and you write things. And I mean, honestly, if the only two things is I don't understand what Conan's doing there and this shouldn't be called Avengers, I think that actually is pretty high praise from Woody.
Hey, man, I high praise a lot of books, just not, like mainstream ones very often. But, I mean...
But I get what you're saying. It's, where is the cutoff? Where is the money making? and where's the giving enjoyment? And I'll be honest with you, I know Marvel does it, but they do it well. They do it really well because even when they're money making, it's enjoyable. And some things that make me mad, people find fun. Like we did a book series, I don't even remember, that's how much I didn't like it, where they were just rehashing old superhero powers into new superheroes.
Yeah. Oh.
Which turned out to be something that people actually enjoyed reading, and I was like, man, give me something new.
Hey, before we wrap up, by the way, I wanted to follow up on a past episode because we had reviewed the first issue of the new Transformers series, and just real quick, because I had mentioned, obviously being a super fan, and loving the old series, so I've seen the first 3 issues so far, and oh my god, this is the most boring comic book ever. Nothing happens.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like nothing's happening. Oh my god, like it is so, like issue 3, something finally happens. Like at the very end, in the last couple pages, something finally happens.
It's like watching The Next Generation.
Except that there were things happening in The Next Generation. Like,
let's go to Data's recital. He learned to play the flute.
That's the B story. They always had an interesting A story. Anyway, no, it's like Brainstorm actually fucking died. They actually wasted my favorite character and or one of my favorite. Basically, yeah, they killed him right off the bat. It's a murder mystery, and it's just they're wasting all this time on BS. And
I have a theory, Woody. Who's your other favorite Transformer?
Well, I like Brainstorm because of how he was presented in that comic series.
Right.
Like he was made to be interesting.
He's dead.
He's dead now. Well, so far out of that series, nobody. They're all
so
lame.
Everybody's going to be fine then.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. We had the same theory. I think we're just tuning into the show and like, oh, Woody likes that character. Watch this.
So far, everything is lame and boring. Oh my god. They couldn't get the good writers back. I mean, come on.
So anyway, you can follow us at all the little not hashtags, at the little Twitter accounts that I've got underneath each of our names. You can follow us all at MD Reviewcast on Twitter. Like I said, send us your opinions, your thoughts. If you disagree with us, we are live on YouTube now, thanks to Alex.
Yay.
And put all your negative comments there because my fragile little heart and mind can't take negative comments.
And as the damaged snowflake that I am, I'll be more than happy to take it.
Damaged snowflakes.
You're like one of those evil Doctor Who snowflakes that comes and makes the bad snowman.
Check out their work at miniaturedragon.com. Check out my work at docswands.com. Come see us if you're in the neighborhood for SummerCon and Jet City, where we're working out the details of being somewhere near each other or together. We haven't fully hashed that one out yet. Well,
now, so far, I know that we're probably going to have a corner booth. So, again.
So, yeah, we're trying to work out some things there. But we'll be near or by each other. We'll know where each other are, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But as always, read more comics, keep it nerdy, and live your dreams. I love that he waves.
But you or me.